The desperate search for survivors is on. This 6-year-old girl was rescued after spending 7 hours under rubble in Gaza City. Her mother, her 2 brothers and 2 sisters were all killed when the building they lived in collapsed following a strike from an Israeli warplane. She was reunited with her father in hospital.
I was filled with all the anger of the universe, but when I heard that one of my daughters was alive, I said thank God, because she might capture some of my other daughter's smiles.
Israel says it didn't target these homes directly, but that it attacked a militant tunnel network, and that caused the buildings nearby to collapse. Hamas says the strike was premeditated killing, and it will retaliate.
We're now entering the second week of fighting with still no sign of a ceasefire in sight. Israel says more than 3,000 rockets have been launched from the Gaza Strip since Monday. Many of those have been intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defence system, but still a large number have reached Israeli soil.
This past week, millions of Israelis were forced into bomb shelters as missiles rained down on our cities. Several Israelis have been killed, many more have been wounded. You know, and I know, no country would tolerate this. Israel will not tolerate this.
There was no discussion of a ceasefire when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with his war cabinet, but international pressure is mounting. The United Nations Security Council met via video link. Its members couldn't agree on a statement, but they condemned the violence.
The current hostilities are utterly appalling. This latest round of violence only perpetuates the cycles of death, destruction and despair. Fighting must stop. It must stop immediately.
How many Palestinian civilians killed is enough for a condemnation. We know a single Israeli is, but how many Palestinians?
The United States says it's ready to offer support should the warring parties seek a ceasefire. There's no sign they want to just yet.
And Tom Joyner is with us now from the Gaza border. Tom, Israel says its campaign will continue at full force. Is that happening?
It certainly is, Kirsten. The flurry of airstrikes over the Gaza Strip overnight from Israeli warplanes targeting what Israel says are a number of tunnels, underground tunnels used by Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. Now, in the other direction, the rockets from the Gaza Strip into Israel also continue overnight, around 60 of them launched, although no reported injuries. Interestingly, that number is far lower than what we'd seen overnights previous. Now, just moments before I spoke to you, we actually saw and heard a number of explosions and sirens went off, alerting us to get into a shelter. Luckily enough, one right next to where we've set up. Meanwhile, international calls for an end to the fighting have continued since Sunday's United Nations Security Council meeting. Interestingly, one of the biggest players in those international talks, the United States, has so far stopped short of joining international calls for an immediate ceasefire.
Tom Joyner reporting live from near the Gaza border in southern Israel.